Today's AskReddit post. What have you accidentally conditioned your pet to do? Oh boy, this is gonna be a good one. Let's get started. When I was little I would constantly carry around one of my cats, Feist. Since my hands were full with her I would use one of her outstretched paws to turn on lights whenever we entered a room. Now the little bastard switches them on and off for fun. My cat was upset with me because I wouldn't get up to give him wet food, so he turned the fan off and looked me dead in the eye. Had the same yesterday. It was my highlight of the week. I'm traumatized by reading this. Good, you'll give me wet food then, won't you, Susan? Our cat had impacted anal glands for a while. We had to bribe him with treats for him to let us look to make sure he was doing alright. Now when he wants a treat he comes up and sticks his butt in our face. I feel like this is the exact type of answer this question was fishing for. LOL. Honestly couldn't be more perfect. Missed an easy gimme for perfect. I make no apology. My niece loves to FaceTime my mom to talk to her dog. When the dog was a puppy, my mom used to pull her onto her lap when she would get FaceTimed. Now the dog is 80 pounds and will jump in your lap if your phone or tablet starts making the default FaceTime ring. I picked my kitten up a few times to kill some spiders up high for me, so now whenever I pick her up she looks up at the ceiling and looks for spiders. My cat will not kill bugs. She stares at them, follows them around, and will paw at them without claws, but won't hurt it. I would love to be able to get her to kill a damn water bug, but she thinks they are just toys, LOL. Same thing with my cat. Recently a stink bug found its way into my room. I swatted it but only managed to make it drop to the floor. I left it for my cat to toy with, but he was curious and slapped it around a few times and didn't finish it off. Somewhere along the way, my dog learned get your toy means to pick up his nearest toy. I didn't purposely train him to do it, but it's good for when he's about to leave one of them outside and I want him to bring it in. If there's no toy around and I say this, he'll grab the nearest soft thing. Usually some piece of clothing laying around. One time he tried to pick up the cat. My brother taught his golden retriever that when he said clean up she gathered all her toys into the toy bucket. She'd get the ones outside the house as well. She also knew his name, my name, and his GFS name, so if you said go get name, she'd find whoever you said. We'd play hide and seek with her like this. Damn. Meanwhile if you call my dog refrigerator in the right tone of voice she thinks it's her name. With my dog you can be in another room talking about him in regular tones and he just appears out of nowhere like I'm always listening. My sister's dog too. He's a German shepherd so he's already very nosy, but he hears a word even similar to his name and he's like, here I am. My dog, meanwhile, knows all of the same things but chooses not to come. I know he can hear me. BC he'll be on his bed wagging his tail and shoving his face further into his paws in the bed. I'm like, excuse me sir, which is another one he knows because when I say it and he's standing, he will back up. My dog knew he would always get some ice to chew when I went to the fridge, so anytime he heard the ice machine on the fridge start he would come running in. Once he became deaf he would feel the vibrations in the floor from it and knew it was ice time. My dogs know the sound of ice too. We don't even use ice. It had been 100% from visitors. What do you mean you don't use ice? Like, for anything? Sorry, just trying to figure this one out, ha 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 ha. I also don't use ice. I don't drink anything fast enough to not have it get watered down, and I also don't like anything too cold, so I just don't ever use ice. You need to start drinking more water, you uncultured swine. Also I'm the kind of filthy animal that puts ice in his milk. I would playfully grab, not hard, really light, my dog's snout whenever we're playing. He somehow figured out it's my favorite thing to do whenever he comes over to me. So now, every time he senses that I'm upset or sees that I'm crying, he would come up to me and gently put his snout in my hand. Similar. I grab my dog's snout when she barks through excitement, only lightly. She can pull away easily. Now whenever she barks with excitement, she looks at me and sticks her muzzle in my hand, LOL. If she's excited or scared of anything, laying with her snout in my hand calms her down too. The fact she does it to calm herself My heart. My cat used to nuzzle my ear hole as a kitten. Like dig into it with her nose face. Now she find comfort digging into my ear hole as an adult. Whenever we lay down she falls asleep with her nose in my ear. I take baths with my cat by letting her float in a plastic box. I keep the box in my closet. I only started doing this about a month ago. But now when I turn the bath water on she runs to the closet and jumps in her box. Please pay your bath cat tax. Check her post history. Lots of cute bath cat tax payments. Edit said is not her post history. So there is. D. I conditioned my cat to use the scratching post with treats and pets and lots of good boy, for the last 7 years. Whenever I have to tell my one cat to stop chewing on something or anything like that, he goes to that post and scratches furiously looking at me like but I'm a good boy, double quote. Or it's how he gets you to not be mad at him. It seems the cat has conditioned OP to stop getting mad. Hey I. Chill, it's okay. Here, watch me scratch this thing for you. Yeah that's right. Everything's alright. Smiling face with horns. Every morning when I wake up I rub my dog's belly. Now whenever I say good morning she will lay on her back for belly scratches. Edit. OMG. This is my most upvoted comment on Reddit so far. So I figured I'd share some other funny stuff my dog does. 1. She's crazy about carrots and pumpkin and I usually chop it on a wooden cooking board. So it makes a characteristic sound when the knife hits the board. Whenever she hears the sound of chopping, she bolts to the kitchen to ask for some. She only comes when it's carrots or pumpkin. Any other vegetable and she couldn't care less. 2. She waits until everyone had finished their meals to go eat hers. As soon as we leave the table, she goes to her bowl and eats her food. And when she's done, she turns it upside down to let us know it's empty. 3. I live in an apartment building and the doorman always lets us know when there's visitors coming up. So when the intercom rings she goes straight to the door, waiting for whoever it is and barking like crazy. She only barks for this specific reason. She usually sneezes to draw our attention instead of barking. There's so much more but I won't linger on. But she's a good girl and I love her. Note, English is not my first language so I apologize for any mistakes. Piggybacking off of you. When I was younger my mom and dad had every other weekend with me and my brother. My mom would let the dog into the room to wake us up. Our first dog was a wild golden lab who would not rest until we were awake by any means necessary. Licking, faces being laid on, and standing on our chest. You name it. Years later we had a second dog and when I was waking up my mom tried that but I would rub her belly as I was waking up. What ended up happening is she figured out that if she waited I would rub her belly for a while as I was waking up on the weekends which could take a while and she got really defensive of that time. Essentially I accidentally trained the dog to guard me from being woken up on Saturday mornings. The dog was super defensive of my mom, but she was even more defensive of me sleeping in on a Saturday morning. LMFAO I love this. After my roommate got a cat, my dog answers to kitty cause he wants love and or treats. Hahaha he a little confused but he got the right spirit. Dogs be like I hear potential for love and treats in your voice. I may come in. Amazing. Beautiful babies. The bungie had a broken leg and a little splint. He would climb to the roof of his cage with just his beak and good leg, then let go of his beak and hang by one leg then just stare at me. He knew I would stick my hand in and he could just fall off into my hand. He only did this when I was around because I was the only one who would stick my hand in. I can imagine him doing it with someone else. Keeping eye contact, only for them to watch this bird hanging and then dropping himself to the floor. My rats do this all the time lol. My hamster did similar. He wouldn't hang but he'd climb to the top and hang, then drop. It was a tall cage too. I've no idea why he started though. Mine did that once but he broke his back unfortunately so he passed away. If he hears me on the phone with my sister it's automatically time for a walk. We usually chat when I take him out and he is now very aware of that. Also outside clothes and putting on makeup means I'm going out probably without him. If I take my backpack I won't be back until after work. He's happy that hasn't happened in a while. Oh, I love this family time. Does he get confused if your sister visits in person? I also love the phrase outside clothes your dog knows fashion. He's like, dang girl, it's that kinda day. Alright, let's go honey I. Sadly she live on the other side of the country, but it seems to only happen when I say hi sis on the phone. Sometimes when other people call, but usually only her. And oh yeah, I'm apparently such a homebody that he notices makeup and clean clothes. And God forbid I start packing a suitcase, I make sure to leave his travel bag next to mine so he knows when he's coming with. I love that he has his own travel bag. 3. We've got a travel box for ours. She gets real excited when she sees her food go in there. My cat meows twice, like bless you, when I sneeze and I say thank you back. She started doing that on her own. I stopped saying thank you a few times and now she won't stop yelling at me until she knows I'm okay. Sweet cat. Wants to know you are okay. And to mind your manners equals. I trained her well. Or she trained you. Dude, I mean, you might have a point. I do a lot of things for her. On a side note, I figured out her favorite word is heck. My wife and I have pretty set sleep schedules during the week. If we stay out later on the weekend or WE, our dog gets very huffy offended and will sigh passive aggressively at us until we go upstairs to bed. Oh, and if one of his bowls is empty he licks it, also passive aggressively, and then makes direct eye contact. I talk to myself constantly so my cat thinks it's normal to walk around making chatty noises all the time. If he's awake, he's talking. I think it's adorable, but it drives my husband nuts, which has resulted in my husband yelling at him a lot. Don't worry, the cat doesn't get upset. Now the cat thinks that's just how my husband talks. So whenever he sees him he yells at him really loudly in order to imitate him. My husband will walk in the room and my cat will stop whatever he's doing and just meow so loudly right in his face. It's absolutely hilarious. Dude got exactly what he deserved. Haha, great cat 10/10. Lately my cat Houston has been sitting on a box in the kitchen and makes noise at every who comes in the kitchen. I talk back to him by either repeating the noise, asking him how his day was, or saying hi Houston. Tell him that we have a problem. When my dog was a puppy my dad used to give her the last bite of his breakfast sandwich every morning so she learned to sit next to whoever was at the head of the table eating at 8 AM every morning. Sadly my father passed from brain cancer a few years ago so I feel bad to see her sit there and wait for the sandwich that isn't coming. You're evil for sharing this because I want you to have your dad back and the puppy to have her breakfast. Also, who cut onions? Sorry, I was just preparing for the burgers. Can you get the ketchup and mustard from the fridge? But why are you making burgers, sir? Also, can I get some pickle between the tomatoes and the onions? My cat will open the tray to my Xbox when he thinks I've been playing too long, even if I just started. My kitten will aggressively headbutt my face every night before bed, for top of head kisses before she goes to sleep. My old cat learned by watching my so and I to give forehead kisses and hold hands as a sign of affection. So now he will give you his forehead and give him a kiss and then you have to let him kiss your forehead. And at night he will hold your hand and sleep next to you through the night. This is so precious. One of my cats has a favorite toy that he brings me sometimes. And when he does I praise him for his catch. Now either I've trained him into thinking he has to bring it to me to receive affection or he's trained me into recognizing when it's okay to give him affection. Or a little bit of both and it's just a little nice communication tool. OMG, he just associates it with feeling love towards you. He's like, this is what I do when I want cuddles. Not sure how it happened, but my dog will run to nearest window, stand on his hind legs and look outside frantically if I ask him who's here. This behavior also occurs when there is a knocking sound, whether it's on the TV or at the door I roll. If no one is there he will whine. If it is someone he knows he will get excited. If it's a stranger he will growl. Best guard dog buddy. Happy cake day so mom. They are a banana. Happy cake day banana. My dogs know the sound of the drawer the cheese is kept in the fridge. They could be asleep in a completely different area. But if you open the cheese drawer they come running and sit like good boys for their cheese. They are herding dogs and will also herd the cat away if she won't stop meowing at me when I'm busy or if she tries to scratch anything. I had to check to see if you were my housemate. All 4 of the dogs we have are very different, but the one thing they all have in common is being summoned by the cheese drawer. Changing the sheets on the bed means playtime. My cat likes to sit on the bed as I throw on the sheets like that Rainbow Parachute elementary game. She tries to attack my hand if I straighten the edges while she's there too. Every night without fail. It's a challenge because one goes under for the parachute. The other goes on top to attack the folds of the blanket. Do you change your sheets daily? Nah, just making the bed. I'm a heathen who makes the bed right before bedtime because my 2 little lovable mischief makers like to track some litter in their toes, so it's a nightly routine of brush the bed off. Also first thing in the morning all I think of is coffee. The routine has turned into a nightly game of hide and seek and attack the sheet. Some days I just want to go to bed without shenanigans, but honestly wouldn't trade it for any other bedtime routine ever. I used to work from home, which included talking on the phone a lot. My dog would always bark when I was starting to talk to someone, so I'd give her a treat to shut up. This turned into her following me around and barking anytime I put my headset on. I don't work for that company anymore, but I kept the headset on a shelf. Now when she wants treats she'll go over to it and bark at it and then look at me. Hahaha. I love the way dogs learn to communicate. You ever have to tell a dog sitter yeah if she barks at the headset? It means she wants a treat. Haha, it's amazing that something random like that can become a sign for something else. I love it. 10/10 for trickery and communication. My pup knows scooch means for him to get on his side of the bed. After my ex-husband left, X's side of the bed became dog's side of the bed. Dog knows off and would jump off the bed when I said scooch, too, and then ask to be let back up on the bed. Eventually he figured out that scooch isn't the damer's off, he doesn't have to get put off the bed, but just out of my side of it. Same with my dog. I tell her scoochy poochy and she scoots over far enough for me to lay down. Opening the fridge and touching a plastic bag means they get a carrot. My mom gives my dogs carrots because they steal it from our rabbit. Hahaha, the tricky little thieves. Dogs are the kings and queens of stealing food. Good thing they're cute. Also, A+ for carrot consumption. The microwave means thorough petting until the timer goes off. That sounds like a good one. I'm assuming a dog who follows you around. My cats are never in the kitchen. Actually a cat. There is a small rug in front of the microwave so he can hold on while I pet him. Ah, amazing. 20/10 smart cat. I don't know how it started, but my dog will bark at anyone who tries to wake me up in the morning. Not a playful bark either. It's an I will eat whoever tries waking up my friend bark. Edit. I posted right before bed so I kinda forgot about this. But I remembered why I think he had this behavior. There's a thing called resource protection where dogs will guard their resources. So if a human feeds, shelters, waters and walks a dog, that dog could grow to see you as a friend and a resource, meaning you're something to guard. I don't know if that's what happened, but it's my best guess to it. Oh my gosh. Man, that is a dog who understands. Though wouldn't the barking wake you up? Or is it just enough that fellow household members don't try anymore? It's okay when the dog does it. My dog knows the FaceTime ring and will start rolling over and tossing toys because my wife would FaceTime her mother all the time when we first got the dog to show him off and would get him to do trucks and things. What kinds of trucks does he do? Cargo trucks? Fire trucks? My dad has our pets trained pretty well. Since our Labradoodle was a puppy, he would tell him, "It's time for all the puppies in all the world to go to bed." His bedtime has always been 9 PM. Now we just say all the puppies and he goes downstairs and into his kennel. If we forget, he puts himself to bed. My dad works from home and will take a break to let the animals out into the backyard. He says time for recess, and they all come running, cats included. Last but not least, when my dad plays the piano, the dog sits next to him and sings. It's the world's most obnoxious bark yowl combo. Grinning face with squinting eyes and sweat drop. My dad has a way with animals. Your dad sounds amazing. Red heart. Bro, you actually watched the whole video. I'd give you a high five if I was a human. Make sure to click the like button and subscribe for more great content. See you next time.